more than what they put in to the country in the form of taxes, to the tune of about $300,000 to $400,000 to $500,000 over the course of their lifetime. And we're talking about huge numbers of people. There are numbers of illegal immigrants in here who have college degrees, who have graduate degrees, but that is a tiny, tiny fraction. The vast majority don't even have a high school degree, and they are a huge drag economically, a huge cost to this country. And this country, hopefully respectfully and compassionately, had better figure out how to talk about this problem. I'll close this issue with this. Democrats don't want to deal with this issue, this is just my opinion, because they don't consider it to be a problem. They'd love all these illegals legalized, they'd love to turn them into voters, because again, they want to make them part of that class of people that is dependent upon government. Yes. Republicans don't talk about this issue because they're scared to death. Every time a Republican brings up this issue, we get hammered in the media. I mean hammered. Look at the grief I took a week ago when I was filmed saying that the Democrats are trying to get Hispanics dependent upon government, just like they got too many African Americans dependent upon government.
It's been going on for 50 years.
For 50 years. My shot, by the way, wasn't at African Americans or Hispanics.
Yes.
My shot was at the Democratic Party. My shot was at corrupt leaders like Jesse Jackson who feed off of this system.
You got good media all week here. Yeah.
One point.
And you were right.
You know, you were talking about, I think the gentleman over here mentioned the rule of law. And either we're going to have laws, both you gentlemen did, or we're not.
Right.
The bottom line is I have a lot of friends who came through the front door. They spent anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 and waited 2 to 4 years to become U.S. citizens. And with tears in their eyes, they took the oath of citizenship. Now, these people work to become U.S. citizens, okay? And so for you to let someone come in the door, these people feel like, why did I waste my time? I'm stupid. They taught their children that you come here and you work and then you're
Exactly. So a good way to close this issue, and let's move on to another issue. Don't we all agree that our country should make it easier for people to get into this country legally?
Right.
That process has become too cumbersome.
Yes.
It takes too long. The paperwork people have to fill out, like everything government does, the process of getting in legally has become a nightmare. We need to make that easier. Let's close that topic.
I have a question I want to ask you. I heard about these treaties that are going through. They have this one that's coming up in June about the sea. Lost.
Land of the Sea Treaty. What's it?
Law
of the Sea Treaty. Yes.
Is there any way you could stop them?
Yes. The House Republicans won't allow it.
Good. The ones that are coming up at the end of the year, Harry Reid's going to put them at what do you call it? Special thing that they do. That they put all, and they only need like 51 votes.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about, but
I can't think of it.
I'm scared to death they're going to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they're going to do a bunch of stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is complicated for me to even say it. All right, I try to stay informed. And
Speak up a tad.
in the past couple of weeks, I have seen 2 different documentaries, and a lecture. One was about Sharia law, and a man who had been a Muslim gave a lecture. And it was like a thing. Have I been enlightened here, or did I just see some propaganda? Then on Thursday, I saw a documentary called The Agenda, The Grinding Down of America. Had the same feeling, still the same feeling. Have I been enlightened, or did I see some major propaganda? But both of those together, which tie in with this immigration thing, although I'm not on that topic, has to do with how our country, which I now understand and I see all these links, is moving directly into communism. And when in your position on the immigration, which is a compassionate position, the reason I would argue against even your position with I don't want to make, because making it easier, what does that mean? We just bring in the same number of people, but then they pay taxes. But the government, Democrats will get their votes because many of them will become dependent on the government again until that's changed and they can't get Medicaid. And I even have read stuff, they're coming up from Arizona now, okay, into Illinois. So to me, as I understand everything I've analyzed so far, the main issue, which I don't see on your list right now, is upholding the Constitution. And I have a couple of newspaper articles, well, I say all these articles, but how the states are starting to fight back against the federal government. Maybe they don't realize that we're moving into this communist government where everybody will be dependent on the government, which is what all the Democrats want. But there is this issue of states starting to fight back. Illinois saying, we are, even though you say we can't, federal government, we're going to examine our Medicaid rolls. And then another state is Florida. Florida is in trouble with the Department of Justice because they are examining all the voter rolls and doing a voter purge, and yet that, who was it, Eric Holder just said a couple of weeks ago, to have voters show an ID puts a burden on the minorities. Like, why? I mean, no why, there's never an answer. Why does it put a burden? They have to show an ID if they open up a bank account. Everybody, I mean, so this is my main concern. Upholding the Constitution, upholding states' rights is going to solve so many of the problems, and we're watching our Constitution be torn to shreds.
Right. But
That's why you gotta
take a sip of your water. And I love the concern and I love the passion, but you got to step back and take a broader view. As critical as I am of President Obama, he's almost an accident. This has been going on for a long time. We've had a slow, steady, 100-year slide away from the basic principle of what this country was founded upon, which is really simple. There are two spheres in life. Like, and I don't have spheres, so I'm going to cut this up. There's the private sphere, our private sector, our churches, our communities, our neighborhoods, all of us, and there's our government. And when our founders founded this country, this is what they envisioned the sizes of those boxes to look like. You got a little bit of government that generally doesn't interfere with what's going on in the world. They lay down basic rules, but we're all born with rights, basic rights that don't come from government. We get to live our lives in freedom. Okay? Simple deal that this country was founded upon. Over the course of the last 100 and some years, we have flipped this to the point now where, handy props. We now have this. Here's all of us, and now we have this big government, which has interfered with our sphere, which has encroached upon our freedoms, which takes too much of the money we make, which makes too many of the decisions that we should make. And then on top of that, you put the federalism issue. Well, if there has to be a government, our founders believed the most influential part of this government was going to be the state government. State governments do most of. Whenever we need government to interfere or interject, typically it was the state governments. So those are two different battles. You are right. We're a million miles away from where our founders envisioned. And when my Democratic colleagues say we want to go back to something, we should say, hell yeah. Hell yeah, I just want to go back to the simple idea this country was founded upon. Because if we don't, we're sunk. And I always go back to this. You've got two philosophies. One philosophy says, I want most Americans to keep darn near all of the money they make and be free to live their lives take care of themselves, take care of their families, take care of their businesses, live their lives, and take care of their fellow man. You've got another philosophy that says, I want to take most of your money, and I want government to take care of all these things. That's the world we're living under now. What's the more optimistic viewpoint? Huh?
The original.
The original. This always slays me. The Democrats, the big government liberals, are the ones who have the pessimistic views of all of us. They don't think we can take care of each other. They don't think we're good enough to take care of our fellow man. They don't want you to keep most of your money. You know why? Because they don't think you're smart enough to do right
No,
with it.
they're elites, they think they're real
School
smart.
choice. I support school vouchers. I want inner city
Yes.
blacks. I want inner city blacks, Hispanics, and whites. I want their parents to make the decision where those kids go to school. Public, private, religious, or home. Democrats won't allow that. Why? Because they don't think these parents are smart enough to do what's right by their kids.
Plus, they want to control the
They
curriculum.
want to
brainwash
control
the
it,
kids.
yes.
That's right.
Our viewpoint is more optimistic. We believe more in man and women. They believe we all need to be taken care of. It's a wrong road to go down because we're going to go bankrupt. So be as passionate as you are, but understand the battle between the feds and the states, an important battle, but it's all tied up in this battle between us and our sphere of freedom and a wee little bit of government.
My question to
Quickly.
you is then, do you see what I now have just been exposed to? Even though I've been reading about it, I was kind of, I guess, in denial because it's too scary, because this documentary was extremely upsetting and it was extraordinarily factual. Do you see we are moving into communism?
No, I see.
And we've got a lot of communism here already.
Here's what I see. And again, this didn't start 3 years ago.
I know.
Okay? I see the long, steady slog toward a bigger government and less freedoms and responsibility for us.
Which is communism.
Oh, stop for a moment.
It is.
It's communism.
But socialists.
It's, hey.
You
Hey.
can go to
It's not
socialism
socialism.
first,
Hey.
then to communism.
Hey, call it what you want, and I'm not degrading any label you're giving it. Here's what I say about it. It's wrong. It's tragic. And it will destroy this country because you know what? It's destroying Europe.
Yes.
That's right.
I
Yes.
say
It's
get rid of the
destroying
bums. Get
Europe.
them all out. They just-
And when Mitt Romney says,
says,
maybe he doesn't say it eloquently, but he says, I believe in the Opportunity Society, and President Obama wants to take us towards some European socialistic society. I don't know that President Obama is smart enough to be able to label it, but that's what he believes in. He believes in this world where government's big to take care of all of us. Yes, that's where he wants to go. That's where every Democrat wants to go. Unfortunately, for too long, that's where most Republicans sort of slid toward
Right.
as well. We got to stop that.
and the
Congressman?
Democrats.
Yes, sir.
When I ask people, aren't you ashamed of being a Democrat? Because the Democratic Party is founded on slavery. In 1860, there were two parties, the Republican Party, so people were willing to give up their lives to stop slavery, and the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party has been, the whole purpose of the Democratic Party since 1860 is to keep people dependent upon the party. I think everybody in this room would agree with that. I ask people, aren't you ashamed to say that you're a Democrat? Because I'm an independent. They just look at me, they don't get it at all.
They don't
I would be ashamed to tell people I'm a Democrat.
Well, no.
Democratic Party is founded
Yeah,
on slavery.
look, let me.
Well, the Democrats changed from the 1960s. They really went way over.
We had the
There was
Democrat,
more
we had
modern,
slavery,
More modern, more conservative.
we had Tammany Hall in New York.
Everything was-
We have the big bosses in the last century. We had the big city bosses, including Richard J. Daley.
Yeah, but you know what?
In Chicago.
you have the-
That's what the Democratic Party's founded on.
You have the mayor of New York who's not a Democrat, who's about to tell New Yorkers you can't buy a big soda.
Oh, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's a globalist.
So I guess they don't have a monopoly on this. The fight in this country right now